All right. So, 3, 2, 1. All right, so we finally got everything resolved, and we are actually, it looks like we're just in the middle of qualifying here for the first race of Season 4 for Formula Fridays, as we're just watching Monkey Mafia take the final corner of qualifying. Thank you and hello. Thank you for everyone who has joined us here for the stream. I'm your host, Follow Monkeys, joined by ISRL Esports. Sunik, how you doing today?
Fantastic. It's Friday night. The boys are out. We're ready to go.
Oh yeah, definitely ready to go. I'm happy that you're ready to go, and I'm excited to kick things off as we just finished up short qualifying, and it looks like it's ISRL Rotation who's going to be starting on pole, with Josh 2 starting on the front row of the grid alongside him. Passassin in 3rd, Sophion in 4th, Carter in 5th, Mushroom in 6th, Krishna in 7th, Stewart in 8th, Joseph Cozy in 9th, and J-Dunk rounding out the top 10. Then we have Monkey Mafia in 11th, Chill Mo in 12th, Hartman in 13th, and then Dark, Izat Kush, and Knight and Gernman, all four not getting a time set on the board, and we'll be starting from the back of the grid for the start of the first race, which we are just about to load into. Now, as we're loading in, Sunik, what are some things we should be looking out for here for this first race of our Formula Fridays campaign here for Season 4?
Well, you can honestly look for the guys to be a little bit more patient than you're going to see in the second race, because this is a 25% race. It is a sprint race in terms of what our normal league races are, which are usually 50%, but this one can be, it's 25% we saw last season, which we didn't show everybody on the live stream. Man, somebody's readied up, and look
Yeah,
at
it
Jay.
looks like that's J-Dunk, who was the first
Hey,
to ready up.
that's he's reserving. We got some reserves we do want to mention, but we do have like a lot of new drivers. I don't know if anybody's tuned into the preseason race here, but people that were missing from the preseason race, guys like, wait, Sweet Crown's not here either.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I do not
Defending,
see the familiar
yeah.
name of Suikaro 19 on the order here. But it looks like we're going up to 3, 4, and
Wow.
5 red lights now, all ready for the start of the first race, and we're off, and it looks like a rotation getting a good start, and Josh 2 trailing closely behind, and Passassin in 3rd, but Sophion looking to make a lunge, and oh, there's a little bit of contact near at the back in the middle. Looks like that might have been Carter and Stewart who got into a bit of a tussle there. But it looks like as they're battling for position, oh, is this a battle right for the lead here on the first lap? Look at Josh 2 rotation. Oh, was there a little bit of contact? And it looks like there was a pink car that spun there here in turn 3. I'm not too sure what that was, but it's still rotation. Josh 2 and Passassin, the 3 that have run away from the rest of the grid and have looked like they're battling it out amongst each other. That's Josh and Passassin going side by side as they're coming up to, I'm not even sure what the turn number is, but who's going to get the better of who? It looks like that's Josh on the inside line. But they're still side by side. Look at this as they're going around. And it looks like it is Josh 2 who is going to get the better of Passassin near the end of lap 1 as they're approaching the penultimate corner. But what a battle we had going on for P2 and P3 on the first lap. But actually, as all that was going on, I couldn't even keep a track of what's going on in behind. So what did we... Sunik, are you able to catch what we missed here as I'm seeing Hartman...
Tidbit. Top of the hill. I don't know what happened to Stewart. I don't know if someone got in the back of Stewart, but Stewart absolutely chucked her down into 3, ran right into the side of Mushroom, but Mushroom looks to have gotten away good because as soon as that happened, he dove down the inside of Carter cleanly, got past him, and now Carter's under pressure from Sophion. There's a lot of stuff happening. I guess the patience thing was thrown absolutely out the window.
Oh, definitely, and I'm gonna cut you off here, just because it looks like we have J-Dunk, and I believe that's Stewart going just about side by side with one another at the same spot we saw Josh and Passassin just a lap ago, and it looks like Stewart is able to just get the better of J-Dunk, and yes, he is able to get the better of J-Dunk as I switch over to the onboard cam, but equally, what's going on over here near the back? It looks like Gernman losing out on a whole bunch of positions, as I think he had a bit of an issue on track, and looking to get back on his way to get back on the track here.
That's... Come on, man.
Oh, no. No, that's not what you want to see here for the first race of the season from Gernman 25 as he retires out on circuit. And I
He just
believe that's
left.
going to mean his
He
ghost is... Sorry?
He just rage quit.
Yeah, it's not what you want to have happen, especially in the first race of the season, no less. Especially now that means his ghost is going to be flying around, and it looks like Dark, Hartman, and Krishna going at it further down the grid for points nonetheless. It looked like Dark might have had a little bit of a contact with Krishna, or maybe the other way around, as I'm still learning all these multiplayer liveries. But oh my goodness, and it looks like that was Hartman going wide, but... what was that? That was Dark that looked like he got the worst of it, as it looks like he got forced into the grass and I guess went to go mow the lawn a little bit.
Yeah, my angle on it, I thought it looked like Dark was going to spin back up, so that's why I had that little bit of a longer ooh than normal. I thought he was going back on to collect the other guys. My heart was in my throat for a minute, but yeah, I don't know what happened there. It didn't, I don't know what maybe some wheel spin, but...
Yeah, maybe. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if it was contact or a little bit of wheel spin. But thankfully, that's the race can continue on, albeit maybe a little bit of dirt on the tire. And ooh, just right as I ride on board, it looked as though Joseph Cozy might have missed the braking point in turn 3. It is a tricky braking point, and actually made a little bit of contact with Chill Mo, who he himself made a little bit of contact with J-Dunk. But it looks like it worked out for Chill Mo, as he was able to get an overtake out of that. So Chill Mo continuing on in 8th place, and might have to give a bit of a thank you to Joseph Cozy for that potential domino effect that helped lead to the overtake.
Now I understand we're not live streaming this race because we can't get to work, but once this goes up, a lot of these tier 2 guys should be worried about Sunday at 1, because Assassin right now is fighting with Josh in rotation for the lead and walking away from Carter. Carter has been absolutely left in 4th by over 4 seconds almost, and Assassin right up there with the guys that fight for wins in tier 1.
Yeah, and speaking of Assassin, let's actually jump on board with him, as just as you mentioned, he's been keeping up with rotation and Josh too, where if the preseason is anything to indicate about what's going to happen, it looks as though Josh 2 and rotation might be front runners, along with Isaac Kush, who's starting from the back of the grid due to a lack of qualifying time. But it's great to see that we have Assassin really putting in the pressure, and equally on stream, it looks like it's Chilmo and Jadung going side by side. And I'm seeing a ghosted car as well getting involved with the action, but I'm not too sure if that's Gernman's car just being lapped, or if that's some.
That's Mushroom's car.
That's
Mushroom's. Not sure
Mushroom's.
what happened.
Oh yeah, I'm not too sure what happened to Mushroom. Might be a disconnect, so hopefully he can get back into the session sooner rather than later, because right now he's falling down the order. As the ghost cars tend to do.
Ooh,
but
Cozy going down the inside of Mo.
Joseph Cozy trying again with the move on Chill Mo, going down the inside of turn 1 now, and it looks like Mo had a little bit of a struggle coming out of the exit of turn 1, which made the move just that much easier for Joseph Cozy, who promotes himself up into 8th, and is now looking to catch up to J-Dunk and work his way up the grid to potentially make an attempt at that 7th spots before the end of the race.
Yeah, obviously we're just going to have a one-stop. It's soft medium, but Sophion closing the gap steadily to Carter here. But Carter slowly losing the front. Assassin almost out of DRS range, but he's still, you gotta give it out to Assassin here.
Oh, definitely. I'm seeing about 4 seconds or so to the likes of, or not 4 seconds, about 0.3 of a second now between Assassin and Josh. So Assassin looks like he is really closing up and really keeping pace with the front runners through the entirety of the session. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this as it plays out. And speaking of, are we gonna see an overtake here, maybe within leading up to the next corner? It looks like Josh is just able to get a better exit out of the corner and regrow that gap. As actually, as we see there, Josh going side by side with rotation. There's the better angle, and it looks like rotation is able to keep that first place, but for how long now? As it looks like now Josh is making a push for the lead of the race here on lap 7. as already it looks like we're, well, not necessarily at the midway point, but approaching the midway point of this first race sooner rather than later, as we're leading into the end of lap 7 going into lap 8. So maybe a change of leaders come lap 8 and maybe leading into lap 9.
Yeah, you got to think if Assassins, if I was Assassin, I would have ducked into the pit. He's clearly got the pace to stay with these guys. Maybe it's a little bit of DRS help, but I mean, rotation's not got any DRS, and he's keeping up. Ooh, makes contact with Josh, but looks to be all right.
Yep, looks like they're both all right and are able to continue on with the race. I'm seeing Stewart going into the pits, so potentially the first of the drivers who weren't involved into an incident to take a pit stop and get on those medium tires. Speaking of the tires, let me actually get all of that up for everybody, since I actually didn't put that up. Yep, so it looks like most are on the softs. I'm seeing Monkey Mafia potentially looking to opt for the medium tires, so looking at inverse strategy, and I think that's Hartman as well, who's looking at an inverse strategy, as I just see now Mushroom joined back into the session. So hopefully he can get control of his car and continue onwards and work his way back up the grid.
Yeah, rotation starting to gap Josh a little bit, but
yeah, but Josh is now having.
It's not. Yes.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Normally he's punching above his weight. Oh, sorry there.
Yeah, they're going side by side here through turn 3, as it seems we're seeing every lap now, but they're still side by side now coming out of turn 3, and it looks like, at least for now, Assassin's got the better of Josh. And oh my goodness, it looks like there might have been a little bit of contact, and that's Assassin that was drifting around the entirety of turn 4. Thankfully, he catches the car and is able to continue onwards. But now, if we ride on board, you can see how big that gap is to Josh, who's all the way up the road and actually catching up to the lapped ghost car of Gernman, who is still continuing on his merry way, going for a little bit of a Sunday drive around Spielberg. And as you saw on the screen, that's rotation, ISRL rotation, the first of the leaders to go into the pits. And it looks like Assassin is following, Carter's following, Sophion is following. But Josh, too, staying out for at least one more lap, so potentially looking to grow that gap on those soft tires. Maybe was doing a little bit of tire conservation for exactly this time, so that he can really push this extra lap and maybe try and overcut on the likes of Rotation and Assassin. Potentially.
Yeah, you gotta think Assassin's a little bit annoyed in the cockpit right now, feeling a little bit cheesed by Josh there. He made the move, just got the, almost like a NASCAR move, gave him the bumper, just moved him out of the way. Didn't wreck him, but just got him. Josh kind of just showing who the top dogs are around here. Assassin's,
yeah, looks like it. Yeah. Yeah, getting the elbows out, it looks like, and just looking at the overtake on track. Carter moving up into 5th, passing Dark, whose Dark is on the soft tires, so hasn't taken his pit stop yet. So Carter on that fresh set of medium tires, probably having much more pace. So is that an indication for Josh too, who's actually just went into the pits now? And I believe ISRL Mo, who's behind, is going to be following suit into the pits as well. Yes, that is the case. But now, as rotation is coming down the start-finish straight, who is going to take the position, the lead of the race? And it's going to be close. And it looks like crossing the line, it looks like it was Josh too in first. But rotation having the better traction and the better speed, the exit speed of the corner, and the fresher tires as well, is able to take that lead back. But crucially, the gap between Josh and Assassin is still, well, a second and a half now. Now, I can't actually remember what the gap was previous to the pit stop after the incident. Were you able to catch that at all?
No, but as long as Josh and rotation keep fighting, it's going to enable Assassin just to kind of save a bit and just creep up to the back of the both of them. But he does have the time penalty, so... But also, at the same time, you got to think, for a young guy like Assassin, this is a huge confidence builder going into the weekend.
Oh, 100%. Especially if he's able to, he's not only competing, but keeping up with the likes of Josh 2, Rotation, and blowing some other Tier 1 drivers. I mean, like ISRL Carter, who's in 4th now, but the gap is now up to 4 seconds, and it looks like it's been growing from lap to lap. So as you said, for Passassin, it's definitely a confidence booster for him, as it's showing that he's able to compete and race with some of the big guns here in Tier 1.
Yeah, a little bit of an off race for Izat, but we did see a similar strategy last weekend in, what was it, Russia with Carter. Izat and Knight too. Izat's had a couple of spins. He's all the way down to 16th.
Yeah, and that's what I'm not too sure about with all the calamity in the first lap with the battle for the lead. I didn't quite get to see what happened further down the grid, but I do like to think that potentially Izat might have been caught up with a bit of an incident working his way up the grid early on, which has meant that that he's got a very significant gap to catch up to 15th if he wants a chance of getting a point in this first race. Now, of course, with the reverse grid order for the second race, it does mean he's going to get a good starting position, at least as of now, potentially starting on the front row of the grid. But at the same time, the second race, it's only half points.
Yeah,
So,
we saw it last week. He won the race in the preseason race, and then if he had one more lap, I believe he would have got the move done on Carter
oh
in the second
yeah.
race.
Oh, I don't doubt it at all. He definitely would have been able to take the win if he had one more lap to do it. So it's a little bit of a
It's a
surprise
head
if it
scratcher.
is. Yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher if it is indeed a strategy call on his part. But I do feel like I want to lean towards maybe an incident that was not caught on the that wasn't caught on the screen. That might be the cause as to why he's all the way down the order.
As we see, is that actually set fastest lap? Oh, and we
Yep,
have
and it
more
looks like
disconnections.
yeah, it looks like Chill Mo left the session potentially on a disconnect as well. So that's not what he was hoping for, as looks like he's got a bit of a gap between himself and ISRL Knight, who's down in 11th, looking to make his way up the grid as well. But still, as we saw with the likes of Gurman
Oh,
and Mushroom.
mushrooms off.
Oh no! So what happened there? Looks like potentially, I'm not too sure what turn that was, but I know it's a very tricky turn to take right, and if you push the inside corner too much, you can clip the grass and not have a good time. So I guess that's what happened, unless you were able to see a little bit more.
I just saw the aftermath. It just looks like a normal incident right down there in turn 5.
Oh, okay. Okay, now actually, I wanted to keep an eye out on that. There was a battle between, it looked like Monkey Mafia and Dark, but crucially, Josh 2 and Rotation are still oh so close to one another. As on the timing screen, you're seeing Knight overtaking Chill Mo, so already that 4-second gap that Mo had evaporated to nothing after the disconnect. So just goes to show the lack of pace the AI drivers have, as now Mo is really falling down the order. So hopefully he can get back into the lobby soon and make back those positions that he is losing. But I want to get back to this battle between Dark and Monkey Mafia, because they've been keeping very close over the last lap or so. But it looks like, of course, now as I switch over to it, it looks like Monkey Mafia's got a bit of a gap now, a little bit closer than what it was. But it looks like Dark takes a bit of a better line through turn 1, so gets a nice run with DRS and might try a move down the inside. No, he doesn't for turn 3. Actually hits Monkey Mafia a tiny little bit. I'm not too sure if that gave him any wing damage or not. No, it looks like
Any, no.
he is able to continue onwards, but albeit did lose a little bit of pace, going a little bit too hot into turn 3, as so many drivers seem to do here around Austria.
Monkey Mafia actually gaining on Knight here, because Knight on the hard, and the alternate strategy to Monkey Mafia, you start on the mediums, on the softs right now.
So I'm
It's only
looking
2
at
to go.
yeah, I'm looking at the tire wear though. Knight on the hard tires, but they're 12 laps old, so it looks like Knight opted for a very early pit stop off of the soft tires to get onto the hard tires to bring them all the way to the end. because I believe that would have been a pit stop on lap 4, but hang on a minute. Josh 2 in rotation getting very close to one another. Josh trying a move down the outside, but just didn't quite have the traction to get it done. So is going to be sitting in second for the time being. But for the last few laps, I don't think I've seen that gap go under half a second, or go above half a second.
It's not going to go over that either. It's not going to get under that as well. It's from the end of sector 1 to the end of pretty much the lap, it is almost impossible to keep a normal speed around here following another car closely.
Oh,
You know, the aero wash. You lose all the downforce, and the front end just wants to just take you off the track. You have no front end grip, so it's all about DRS straights.
Well, that's the thing, and speaking of DRS straights, here to the end of turn 1, that's Josh trying something down the outside. Is he going to try a switchback? I think he thought about it, but rotation just might have had a slight better exit. But now look at the pace with DRS. Oh my! That was a little bit a bit of an interesting move by rotation, but I don't know if there was really anything wrong with that. I mean, Josh did try down the inside, but to me it looked like rotation. But it looks like rotation did his one defend move to the inside. But maybe where it can be a little bit sketch, I feel, might have been just the delay in the move.
Yeah, I was riding on board with Josh, and Josh was actually beside him.
Well, so yeah, that's the thing. I was riding on board too, and it wasn't necessarily a matter of, like, it wasn't rotation going to the outside, moving to the inside. I think it was just the lateness of the move. I think rotation was just slow to act, and, well, who knows? I guess that might end up in the hands of the stewards by the end, but looks like Josh 2 is getting a purple first sector on the last lap. But he's really going to have to push here down this last straight, because this might be the last opportunity he gets. So trying down the outside now, a little bit of a cleaner move by rotation as he defends down the inside. We still have them basically side by side, but now Josh had the inside line, but breaks a little bit earlier than rotation, which actually allowed rotation to get a little bit of a better run into the corner. And I think that might be all she wrote for race 1, saving a crazy move into the final few corners. But I don't think we're going to see that unless Josh 2 gets a crazy run around the exit. But no, it looks like as they wiggle through, rotation does take the win of the first race. Josh finishing in second, Passassin getting a third place. Albeit that gap did grow between Josh and rotation, so Passassin losing out a little bit of pace near the end of the race, but still a solid finish. Carter coming in fourth. Sophion falls down to 6th after crossing the line in 5th, so Stewart does take that 5th position. Jay Duncan 7th, and as we're waiting for the other drivers across the line, there's Krishna crossing in 8th, but Joseph Cozy takes the 8th place on penalties, so Krishna falls down to 9th. And Monkey Mafia looks like he takes the last position in the top 10. Knight falling down to 11th after penalties of the first race, with Dark in 12th by only nearly a 10th of a second to Knight. With Izat Kush still getting a 13th spot for his work after. Well, yeah, about that. Looks like he falls down to 14th. But, I mean, I guess 15th, as we see on the screen here, that Izat Kush is getting a 15th. And look at that. Still a point nonetheless. And ISRL Knight, driver of the day for the first race.
What can you say about the battle up front, though? That was absolutely epic.
That was amazing to watch.
Josh had one opportunity, and he wasn't shy about it, and rotation gave him the respect this time around, but just not able to close it, and obviously Passassin.
No, but at the same time... Oh, no, sorry. Please, go on ahead.
I'm just saying, Passassin, like, the young Tier 2 driver, just punching above his weight class and hitting the target, so...
Oh, yeah, lots of strong talking points for this first race. But, I mean, of course, if I'm Josh 2... I feel as though I'm still a little bit flustered by the very late defense that rotation put up on that penultimate lap. But either way, as we said, rotation takes the win with Josh in second, Passassin in third, Carter in fourth, Stewart rounds out the top five, Sophion, J-Dunk, Joseph Cozy, Krishna, and Monkey Mafia take 6 to 10, with Knight in 11th, Dark in 12th, Hartman in 13th, Mo in 14th, Isaac Kush rounding out in 15th place, the last driver to get a point, with Gernman and Mushroom the only two drivers to not get a point, but equally the only two drivers to, well, let's be honest, not finish the race. Mushroom looks like he did, I believe, DNF out of the session, and Gernman did leave very early on. So that's basically a DNF in my eyes.
Yeah, that was. I'd say that was an absolute rage quit on the part of the Gurn man.
Yeah,
Mushroom
I would have
retired, but he did it in a pit. But if Mushroom doesn't remember the rules, Mushroom will start at the back, because if you DNF, you do not get the reverse grid pole.
Yep, so unfortunately for Mushroom, he will still be starting at the back of the grid for the second race. But other than that, everybody did finish, so it looks like as if it is actually going to be Isaac Kush starting on pole for the second race, which, for those who are not aware and who have just tuned in to ISRL for this Formula Fridays, well, I guess I'll call it the Formula Fridays video, as we've got a little bit of technical difficulties with the stream. It is going to be a reverse grid for the start of the second race, where the second race, it's only a 5-lap race, so really no pit stop, a sprint from start to finish, and if the preseason race is anything to say about it, it's gonna be exciting, and I'm excited to have it kicked off.
Everything anybody's ever told you about being patient is gonna be thrown out the window here. Guys at the back, as we saw the two leaders who finished within half a second of each other, they're gonna be starting at the back, and they're gonna have to make their way through the lower, because we've seen it before. It's a multi-division race. It's almost like you would say like an endurance race. We have multi-classes. We have Division 1, 2, 3, even 4 drivers. There's reserves from other leagues as well. But
yeah. So that's well. Just to go on that, we've got drivers from Division 3, from Division 2, from Division 1, but now with this reverse order grid, because as we normally tend to see after the one-shot qualifying and the first race, is that we'll see a lot of the Division 1 pace drivers near the top of the order, like Rotation and Josh too, and then of course, in terms of the pace of the division, we kind of see that correlation with the first race. But now, as you were saying, Asunik, with the second race, everything's out the window. All the quick drivers starting from the back of the grid, and with only 5 laps to work their way up the order, up the grid, we're going to see lots of moves maybe that we wouldn't necessarily see on a regular Sunday 50% race when you've got a bit more time to get the overtakes done. So it's going to be exciting, and honestly, I don't think, for those watching at home, I don't think you want to go anywhere, because if you do go anywhere, you're going to be missing a fantastic race, a fantastic 5-lap sprint to the finish that will be kicking off in, I believe, just a few moments.
Yep,
once we get everything sorted out.
Grid, sorry.
Oh, no worries. Do what you got to do. I'll keep everything handy over here with the stream. As we're just loading in now,
I believe Stewart left this session.
Oh no!
Not remembering the second race, because I have him finishing 5th, but he's gone.
Oh no! If he left the session, then unfortunately that's basically some potential half points that he's going to be missing out on in the drivers' standings here. Of course, with Formula Fridays, as we are racing with multiplayer cars, there isn't necessarily any constructors' standings. So it is purely just the driver standings, but definitely a little bit of an oopsie on the part of Stewart, as he's going to be missing out on those potential half points he might be able to get, as it looks like even now, for the time being, potentially every driver who's going to be on the grid might get points, but actually now that looks like we've got Mo that was able to get back in the session. And I'm seeing Hartman not with a car. I'm not too sure if he left the session and joined back in. But potentially everybody who finishes getting points, getting those half points for the 5-lap for this 5-lap sprint. I just have to take a quick sip of water.
Yeah,
Retool, reload.
Still trying to get my ducks in a row.
Yeah, no worries. That's quite alright. Do what you gotta do. We'll get that grid sorted out. Now, just in the meantime, as we're sitting here in the lobby screen waiting, I gotta mention, we're a little bit after Christmas. I know we'll maybe a little bit late to talk about Christmas, but it's never too late to get yourself some ISRL merch from IMB Racewear. As we've got a nice little partnership with them. We've got some ISRL merch. You can customize it. Get your driver name, get your driver number, maybe even get your favorite driver name and number. Get a gift for yourself, get a gift for somebody else. Splurge a little bit. I mean, it's great. I can speak out of experience, and I can tell you that the quality is fantastic for the merch, and I've definitely got an order in myself coming sooner rather than later, and I'm excited for it. So definitely go check it out. That's with IMB Racewear.
Just a bit of confusion. Stewart is Stewart to join, so I could fit him in, but I don't know if he's.
Yep, I'm not seeing him here, although I'm just quickly gonna check all the other cars. Nope, I'm not seeing him in the lobby just yet.
He did forget. I can tell you that he did forget that there was a second race.
Oh, we did forget the.
I'm having a bit of a dog problem.
Perfect. So we'll see if we can get Stewart back into the lobby before kicking off the second race.
Yeah, being as it is race one, a lot of these drivers aren't accustomed to it. Maybe they overlooked a little bit of the details.
Yeah, of course, and then of course considering it's slightly different just compared to the regular race weekend, that a lot of the drivers are familiar with the Sunday, the short qualifying, with the 50% race afterwards. But of course we want to do things a little bit different here for Formula Fridays, shake up, you know, I don't want to say bend the rules, but push the limit of what can be done for a race weekend. And this is what we were able to come up with after refining, after a little bit of refinements from Season 3 with the 225% races. But honestly, I feel like this is a much better choice, as we've said multiple times, which allows only 5 laps for some of these very quick drivers starting at the back of the grid to try to work their way back up the order and fight for all those points.
Alright, so Stewart is back. Let me just slot him in real quick.
Perfect.
He will be...
Yep, see him there. So look, he did finish 5th. Yep, so slightly, just a little bit ahead of Carter on the starting grid.
Alright. Everything is good to go.
Perfect. Alright, so we've got you back in spectator. I think in just a few moments we're going to get the green light to kick the second race off. Yep, and there we go. We're seeing all those check marks appear, so I think the drivers are starting to basically get the signal. We're going to get readied up, and there we go. In about 25 seconds, we're going to be loading into the second race. Now, from preseason, I know it kind of kicked off very, very quickly once we loaded in. So, just as we're actually loading into the session, what should we be looking out for leading into the second race? Well, for those who might have just skipped through a lot of the lobby and looking to get to that second race.
Yeah, well, I would too. Knowing these drivers, seeing what we see in the past, you can expect turn one to be a bit greasy. Let's just say that. a lot of impatience. You have 5 laps to get the most positions you can to make the most of what you can because you're almost penalized for being good in the first race with having to struggle in the second. But we saw last week in the preseason race is at double podium, so it's just like that for round 1 for the guys. So this just got better, Eric. This just got better.
Oh my goodness. What have we just loaded into here today for race 2? And a complete 180 from race 1, which was nice, clear, coastal cruising drive. Nope, looks like we've got heavy rain and what I can only assume is going to be wet tires for this second race 5-lap sprint. So expect the impatience and expect I'll be honest, the butt clenching to kick off tenfold here, especially leading into turn 1 where drivers are going to have even less visibility as they normally do with the spray. And with the push of the 5 with only the 5 laps, but it looks like we are kicking things off with 4 red lights and 5 red lights. Waiting, and we're off now with Isaac Kush in the lead, Mo in second. It looks like we're seeing some struggling off the grid with a little bit of tank slappers, but it looks like Isaac Kush getting a nice start, and already there's some contact between Mo and Dark, it looked like. Oh my goodness, boy. What happened there? Oh my goodness, what is going on? And that's rotation. Cozy, J-Dunk, Passassin, Monkey Mafia, I believe. All being taken out in the first turn. And, well, I want to get back to them, but already I'm seeing some contact in the second turn. Turn 3, as it looks like that's Hartman falling down the order. Absolute calamity here in the intermediate tires, not the wet weather tires as I was expecting. But we've got Josh 2 going side by side with Stewart, and oh my goodness, who was that? That was Krishna, who was basically, it looked like he was, almost looked like he was punted into the wall there, and that's Krishna retiring from the session on track as well. So definitely not what you want to see, but thankfully his car pulled over to the side of the road, and it looks like the Stewarts are going to be taking care of that, so was able to catch that exit point. But what a crazy first lap we're seeing here.
There's a couple more. We saw it coming. I didn't see that coming though.
Oh no, so I didn't. Oh, and rotation looks like caught a little bit of an edge, bit of a tank slapper, losing control of the car, so losing out a lot of time there, so we just caught that, and he's going to be diving into the pits, potentially for a wing change, but J-Dunk, Passassin, rotation, all into the pits, so it seems like a lot of these drivers that were near the front of the order for the first race got caught up into the incidents here in the second race in turn 1 with just how crazy all of that was. But still, through all of that, Isaac Kush starting to run away with the lead and with already a 3.3 second gap to Chill Mo, who's in second, and being closed up by ISRL Dark, who's in third. But it looks like the gap is hovering right around 0.7 of a second to about a second from what I can see on the timing screens here.
Yeah. All the while, Sophion catching Dark and Knight catching Sophion and Mushroom catching Knight.
Yep. So it looks like we're gonna
Things might have settled down though. So.
Oh yeah, I think after the first lap, once the drivers got some heat into the tires, maybe now we're starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with the weather. There's a bit more of a racing line being formed now as we've got a lap through. Now I just want to jump quickly to Joseph Cozy as he's putting the pressure on Hartman. 2 ISRL drivers looking to battle it out, and it looks like Cozy gets a nice run leading into turn 2 and makes the overtake makes it look very easy. Going into turn 2, going into turn 3, and it looks like he does hit that braking zone, takes it nicely, and it is going to be Joseph Cozy taking that P10 away from ISRL Hartman, who falls down to 11th. Now, I'm going to jump to this nice little 3-car battle between Josh 2, ISRL Mushroom, and ISRL Knight. You could probably throw a blanket on these cars, and to be honest, I'm sure the drivers wouldn't mind a blanket after the conditions we've got here.
Yes,
But Josh 2 looking to put the pressure as it looks like he was able to get off relatively unscathed through the first lap chaos, and is already in 7th position from starting realistically right from the back of the grid. So at least early on, in terms of the early battles for the drivers between Josh, Passassin, and Rotation, it looks like so far advantage Josh 2.
Oh,
But right as I
Josh.
say that, a bit of a commentator's curse as it gets a little bit of oversteer coming out of turn 1 as we saw, and falls down to 8th as ISRL Carter says thank you very much for that very easy overtake, and goes up into 7th. And already on...
Who is that off the track there?
Oh, it looks like that's Dark that was off the track. And Carter once again gets another easy position up into 6th, with the Mushroom going up into 5th and Knight up into P4. And they're still very close to Sophion, who's now very close to Chill Mo. So
Chilmo's the Pied Piper right now.
yeah, and going into the last lap, it's still anybody's position to play for, and still anybody's podium to play for, as Josh 2 does overtake Dark.
Everybody's just gonna get so impatient behind Mo here. Mo's gonna be able to just probably keep this because nobody's gonna show patience, especially with the last lap here. It's
well, that's
so
the
close.
thing. But the question is, who's going to be the first to budge?
Oh, look at him.
Well, look at all this. Oh, and look at is that Knight who's going to be potentially the first to budge? No, actually, I think he was just trying to break the toe from ISRL Mushroom, not looking to give any advantage. But oh, we've got a yellow flag as looks like that's Dark, who's had enough on the last lap, retiring in the pits. Nothing wrong with that. And Sophion makes a lunge down the inside, and it goes a little bit deep into the corner. And it looks like Mo is able to pull off the switchback, so Sophion still staying in 3rd. But oh my goodness, what happened there between Knight and Mushroom? Oh no! They were so... Caught a little bit of that on stream. I didn't quite get to see what happened, but it looked as though... Oh, and... That's not what you want to see from Mushroom, as going into turn 4 completely misses his braking. And gives a little bit of a bump to Knight, and that's not... I can only imagine that he's not too happy about that.
I would hate to be the fly on the wall in the other room right now, because he's probably fuming. He's up there fighting for a podium.
Oh yeah, but speaking of the last lap, Carter thought about making a lunge down the inside of Sophie on the last corner, but thought wisely of it. But will Josh 2 make a push? No, just ran out of time. But just like that, look at that. Izat Kush takes the win with a 12.6 second gap to Chill Mo, who gets P2 in the second race after all of that, with Sophion in 3rd. And Carter gets a nice P4 out of that. Josh rounding out the top 5 after getting very close, but still not a bad finish in 6th for ISRL Knight, albeit the last lap incident could have been much worse for him, but still a decent haul of points for Knight, with Cozy in 7th right behind him, and Stewart in 8th, Monkey Mafia across the line in 9th, and it looks like that was Hartman that rounded out the top 10. But, oh my, what a 5-lapper race that was. With, it looks like ISRL Carter getting driver of the day for the second race. Well deserved, as he worked his way from, starting from, I believe it was 5th last on the grid, up to, what was it, P5? So 5th last to 5th. Not a bad race for ISRL Carter.
Let's just say, when you go to look at the Discord server and it just says several people are typing, you could tell the Monday Night Stewards meeting is going to be an absolutely fantastic time for everyone involved.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. But of course, for the drivers watching this, if you want your incidents to be looked at, make sure to report them.
Well, it's like Carter from P16
up to P4. Of course, got a little bit of...
Oh yes, he did finish 4th.
Yeah, I mean, he did get a little bit of help, I believe, from some of the incidents. But I mean, it goes to show, drive a clean race, good things will happen. But Isat Kush does get the win with Chill Mo coming in second with Sophion rounding out the podium. Carter, potentially early candidate for driver of the day for that second race, in fourth, and Josh rounds out the top 5. Knight in sixth, Joseph Cozy in seventh, Stewart in eighth, Monkey Mafia in ninth, and ISRL Hartman rounds out the top 10. Mushroom ended up finishing in 11th with J Dunk in 12th, Passassin in 13th, Rotation in 14th, and Dark rounds out the top 15 for the point getters, with Krishna the only driver to not finish, but actually Dark retired in the pit lane, but still qualified it looks like. So I'm not too sure how that's going to work with the points, but we can look at that potentially after the facts. But oh my. What a Formula Fridays that was.
That's everything that we would have hoped it to be, minus a bit of carnage, but the excitement on track was absolutely there. And exactly what we wanted with the different format. We see Chilmo holding off everybody in the rain. Started P2, and he damn well kept it as well. Like, I know Carter with those many position gains could be labeled as driver of the day, but let's not overlook Chilmo.
But as I said, Mo keeping that P2, another solid candidate just for that second race alone. But I think that's gonna do it here for Formula Fridays. But if that's anything to indicate what this season 4 is gonna be, I'm sure you won't want to miss it. I definitely won't, at the very least. But I think that's going to do it here for us here today for our Formula Fridays Race 1. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. But make sure to tune in on Sunday for Division 3, Division 2, Division 1's race here around Spielberg. But until then, I've been Fallen Monkeys, joined by ISRL Sunik. And thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.